Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make a maxi dress. Some of the supplies you will need will first be a top just like this. This is just one of those scrunchy tops that you can buy at Walmart. And the next thing that you'll need is some stretchy fabric, and this is for the skirt of the dress. I cut mine so that it is floor length, and then I added 2 inches so that you have an inch seam allowance at the top and an inch seam allowance at the bottom. And then for the distance around you, that will determine how much of a gather you want in your skirt. I don't want that much, so I did less fabric, and if you want more gathers, just do more fabric. Another thing that you're going to need is a double needle. I'm going to be using this for all of my hemming that I'm going to do on the bottom of the skirt and possibly on my sleeves. And then of course your thread and sewing supplies. And then I also have this piece of paper for making a pattern for my sleeves. If you don't want to make sleeves, that's fine. I'm going to make some sleeves, and I'm actually just going to cut this out of the fabric, just a rectangle, and I'm going to sew them on that way. So they're just going to be some scrunchy rectangle sleeves on top. So let's get started. When you're cutting out your knit fabric, I suggest using a rotary cutter. It will cut a lot smoother than a pair of scissors will, and it will be a lot faster. And also when you're trying to figure out the width around your body for the skirt, just make sure you go around your body at least once comfortably, and then just start adding more for the gathers, and we will even out the gathers in one of the upcoming steps. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fabric right sides together and pin all along the opening of the skirt. And this, I'm just going to close it up so that it will actually make a skirt. And I'm going to serge mine together. If you don't have a serger, you can use a straight stitch machine and just do 2 rows of zigzag stitching. After you have your side seam stitch, we're going to do a basting stitch around the top so that we can create our gathers. So I just have my machine set on 1, a regular stitch, and I'm going to put the length all the way up to 5.0. I like to do just the biggest on my machine because I don't have as many options. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to sew 2 layers together. I'm just sewing through 1 layer all the way around, and this is the top of the dress. Once basted all the way around, I'm going to find the thread that I just ended with and just start pulling, and this will create some gathers, and I'm just going to spread it out as I go. I don't want to break my thread either, because then I would just have to go back and baste it again. So all I'm going to do is just pull and push the gathers around the entire circle. Once I have my gathers the way I like them, I'm just going to divide the skirt up into 4ths so I can put it on the bodice. So our seam that we already created will be 1 of the 4ths, and then I'm just going to pinch the other side, and that's going to be half of it, and I'm just putting a pin there, and then I'm going to open it the other way and match my pin up with my side seams, and I'm just going to pin these 2 ends as well. So that way when I'm putting it on my bodice, I know that I'm putting it on evenly and the gathers will be spaced evenly. So I'm also going to divide my bodice in 4ths as well. Our side seams are going to be 2 of our 4ths, and then if we just match it up in the middle, so if I just divide this up in half and find the middle, both of those points will be my other 2 4ths. And now I'm ready to put my skirt on. So first I'm just going to match my side seam on my skirt up with my side seam on my bodice. And all I'm doing is I have my right sides both facing out on the bodice and the skirt, and I'm actually just going to tuck the skirt up in to the bodice and pin those 2 layers together. Make sure you're not pinning the bottom layer as well, because we'll go around and pin that later. But I'm going to match up my side seams, make sure I have that 1 inch tucked in there because we accounted for a 1 inch seam allowance. I'm going to match up all of my pins that I put in. So I matched up those 2 pins. Next I'm going to match up my other side seam of the bodice with my 3rd pin. And then I'll flip it over and match my last 2 pins together. Now I'm going to go in and put the rest of my gathers up in here and pin all along the bodice. And I might need to scrunch my gathers up a little more. I don't think I did it quite enough, so I'm going to do that and then just pin all the way around. Once my pins are all in, I'm now ready to start sewing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bodice and I'm going to scrunch it up on the other side of my sewing machine, so that way I can just slide it in and not have to worry about the things underneath getting caught. And I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to follow the stitching that is already there, so that way it's a little more discreet. And I'm just going to stitch right along. Now to really help secure those stitches that I just did, I'm going to do another row of stitching. A little low. I'm going to do mine a little lower. You could do yours a little higher depending on where you did your first stitching. This will just help secure them, especially with stretch fabric. It stretches over your body, the thread can pop, and putting 2 rows of stitching in will help to secure it much better, so that if it does pop, you will have another row of stitching to secure it. Now I'm ready to start working on my sleeves. And first I'm going to hem each side of them, so that way I don't have to mess with it once it's on the dress. So I have already done this side, and all I did was I folded it. This is the wrong side of my fabric, so I folded the wrong sides together about 1/2 inch, and I just have it pinned down. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well. Now that it's pinned, I'm ready to start sewing the hem down each side. And I'm going to sew it on the right side of the fabric. Now I'm going to set my machine to the basting stitch, so I'm just going to put it all the way up to a 5. And I'm going to run a baste along each end of my sleeve, so that I can create the gathers. Now I'm going to take the bobbin thread, so that bottom thread, and I'm just going to pull that across and scrunch it up just like we did the skirt. And if you want to decide how wide you want your sleeve to be, now would be the time to do that. And that is how much you will scrunch it up. And make sure that it's going to be even on each side, so I will measure both ends and make sure they match. Now would be a good time to try on your dress and figure out where you want your sleeve to lay. I've actually already put one on, and this is how it turned out. I'm very pleased with it. So to make sure they look symmetrical when I'm wearing it, I'm going to try the dress on and actually pin the front on while I have the dress on. So all I'm going to do is, just like the skirt, I'm just going to tuck it to the inside and pin it wherever I want it to lay on me. So I'll just say, let's say it's right here that I like it, and I'll just pin that all the way across, and then I'll do the same for the back. That might be a little tricky. You might just need to try and put 2 pins in, or have someone help you and pin that back in. Once I have it all pinned, I'm ready to sew it down. And I set my machine to a 4. I'm back to a single stitch. So this is going to be a zigzag, and I'm just doing it all the way across the front where I'm placing my sleeve. And I am using the same color of thread, this red here. I'm using the same color of thread, so you won't even see the stitching. And that's why I'm doing it right on the front. So now I have that front part sewn on, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to the back. Make sure you try it on, you like the fit of it, and you like how tight the sleeve is on your shoulder. I have it all pinned, so now I'm ready to stitch. And now I'm done with my sleeves. So now our last step that we have to do is the hem on the bottom. And if your length is already ready to go, all we need to do is turn it up an inch like we accounted for. So turn it up an inch and make sure you measure all the way around and just pin it just like we did the hem of the sleeves. Now we'll do that all the way around the bottom of my dress. I have the bottom of my dress all pinned and ready to go, and I'm ready to start sewing. I changed my needle to the double needle, and I'm just sewing on the right side of my fabric. And there you are done with the hem of your dress. Okay guys, and now you are done with your dress. I thought I would show you mine. I'm really excited about how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and comment below, and make sure to subscribe for more sewing tutorials. See you next time. Bye!